keep it simple, is like psychology and dance put together. It's part of the creative arts. So there's art therapy, music therapy, dance therapy. So it's a form of psychotherapy that focuses on the entire body, mind, spirit, the whole thing, right? And so if you think about everything we go through, everything we've experienced is held in the body. So if we are having these experiences, whether traumatic or not, and it's being experienced in the body, doesn't it make sense to find your recovery through that in the body? And so for me, at this point in my life, I want to do more work with trauma in the body, specifically with women and the trauma that a lot of women have experienced, whether it's sexual assault, prostitution, rape, substance abuse, different traumas to the body. I specifically want to work with that population of people. What else did you ask me?
Yeah, like you're answering it.
Oh, okay, I feel like I was missing something else. So that's my ultimate goal eventually, where I want to be. Right now, I work with males, predominantly 1370 men who are mentally incompetent to stand trial. That's who I am working with right now. But it's amazing just to see the type of trauma we go through, but specifically in the Black community, I've been doing more research and studying and learning about racial trauma and generational trauma that is passed down, that has been passed down to us, that we continue to carry. With all of the civil unrest that's been happening, it's been revealing a lot of the racial disparities. If you look at COVID's been hitting the Black community hard. Why? Think about the racial disparities in healthcare. Why is there racial disparities in healthcare? Well, we tend to not have access to different things. Why is that? Especially when you have the Black people who are poor don't necessarily have access to healthcare. So it's hard to get tested and treated for COVID or even eat healthy foods. Think about food deserts in areas where they don't have fresh fruits and veggies, or actual grocery store that sells relatively healthy food. And if you think about it, relatively healthy food or fresher foods are more expensive versus going to get your canned foods, your frozen foods, your sugars, your sweets are way cheaper, right? But then if you go back to healthcare, there's a lot of mistrust between the Black community and the healthcare. And the analogy I like to give people, what police are doing to unarmed Black men, doctors are doing to Black women. If you think about Black women tend to die in childbirth at a higher rate than any other race. They came out with a study that said Black babies have a better chance of actually living if they are cared for and treated by a Black doctor, a Black nurse. And it's like you go back to the Tuskegee trials, go back to the syphilis experiments. If you go back to when Black people weren't seen as being able to feel, we weren't seen as human, so they can experiment on us. So you have all of these things coming into play with racial disparities. I mean, so much has come up during this time. And for me, I feel like this has been the perfect time to get even more clear about what's happening and what I want to do. And seeing all these disparities, even in the mental health field, there's only 5.3% Black psychologists. But yet we're supposed to go to therapists, but they don't look like us. They don't understand our experiences. Our experiences don't look like their experiences. My depression doesn't look like Becky's depression, because our cultures are different. We experience the world differently. But also in the medical field, like doctors, non-Black doctors, non-doctors of color, are taught to have this negative light of Black people. Like that, it's like a untaught thing that we don't feel. Like we are exaggerating our pain. So when we come in, we tend not to get pain meds. We tend not to get this. We tend not to get the best healthcare. We tend to die in childbirth. We tend to go untreated for things like that. So COVID, this program has helped me. If y'all can see, I just went off on a tangent, like a rant. Just because I'm really passionate about these racial disparities that are happening in the mental health and health field right now, which is why I'm going deeper into it and learning more about it. So